So you guys have been telling me that there's a lot of awareness in the community. This isn't a population that has to be educated. They're living with the effects, the downside environmental effects every day. So is it in the power of individual communities to, well, at least mitigate? They can't necessarily fix the world, but can you start in your neighborhood and start turning things around, and how?
Absolutely. I think that's a great example that we just saw, which was planting trees, gardens, things that are green, things that are help mitigate carbon in the air. But another important thing that I want to flag for the Latino community, and really anybody who's impacted and who's concerned about the environment, is the role of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. Right now, they currently have a mandate to regulate greenhouse gases, which is some of the more dangerous gases, especially to the Latino community. And that authority is really going to be under pressure, especially from the incoming Republican majority in the House, which includes some people who deny that climate change is even a problem. And they have vowed to attack the power of the EPA. And I think that's something that communities are going to need to mobilize against and really make their voices heard, that this is something that they will not accept, that they want to protect their communities and they want to protect the health of their children and their neighbors.
And from the civic engagement point of view, at the community level, there are a lot of things that we can do. Proposition 23 in California and saying no to Proposition 23 was a clear message, and the Latino community played an important role saying no to push back on this kind of legislations. I mean, when there are regional or state pieces of legislation that are against the values and the future of a green economy, I think the Latino community at the local level, the voters can play a central role, voting and supporting policies that are good for our communities, that are good for the environment, and that are good for the economy.
I think it's incumbent upon us, environmental organizations such as the Sierra Club and also your groups, to let the Latino voters know who is working for the polluters and who is working against the polluters. Because in many instances, they're given this false choice. They said, okay, if you're going to have a job, I'm sorry, but there's going to be pollution and you're going to be sick. If there's not going to be any pollution, then there's not going to be any jobs.
But that's the choice that's offered workers around the world, and as in the United States, low-income workers,
yes,
especially are offered that
and
choice.
that is not the trend of a
you
civilized,
can work or you can breathe.
Of a civilized country is a false choice, because you can have both. And I think that the voters, especially out west, are realizing that they can have both a clean job where the worker doesn't get sick, but it's also, as I was saying, incumbent upon us to make clear who are those who are working for the polluters and who are those who are working to have a clean environment and a clean job. And once they're educated in that respect, I think they're going to have a much better. They're going to be in a much better position to make a choice.
In a neighborhood like the one we just saw, which has one of the busiest highways in America, rolling right through the middle of it, the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, belching out exhaust from thousands and thousands of trucks and heavy vehicles and private cars, all day, all night, every day. Those people can't pick up and move, but maybe there are approaches that will help them find green jobs, a different kind of green job, rebuilding the world they've got instead of thinking about some bright future. Aren't there a lot of jobs in retrofitting, in making the places they live better places to live, cleaner, more efficient, more decent places?
But there's another factor involved in here. It's called fighting back. And we see many examples throughout the country where fighting back is really effective. For instance, the ladies of Poder in Austin, Texas, they took on the 5 largest oil companies in the world and beat them. They actually shut down this facility of 52 storage tanks that were spewing the most horrendous chemicals you can imagine, and they were doing it legally. So these 2 ladies just got together, started asking the community, nosebleeds, headaches, dizziness. Everybody had the same symptoms. They thought it was a punishment of God because they did something wrong. No, it was not. It was ExxonMobil, it was Chevron, and it was Shell that were actually poisoning them. They fought back and they won the case and they shut down the facility. So there's another component to, yes, being educated and planting trees and being green and all that. It's just, you also need to fight back against the polluters.